The lights inside the arena burn bright, but the tension in the air burns hotter. This is not just another fight night. This is a crossroads moment in the middleweight division. Fans file into their seats, knowing exactly what's on the line. The vacant WBO InterContinental Middleweight Championship. A title that may not crown a world champion tonight, but can open the door to one tomorrow. The crowd hums with anticipation, a mix of curiosity and impatience, because both men standing in opposite corners are fighters who have been close to the edge of greatness, and have felt it slip away before. In the blue corner stands Willie Mongoose Monroe Jr., dressed in black and gold, calm, measured, carrying the record of a boxer who believes in skill, timing, and patience. 20 wins, 6 knockouts, and only 2 defeats. Across the ring, in the red, white, and blue, is Gabriel "King" Rosado, a man whose career has been defined not by comfort, but by confrontation. 23 victories, 15 knockouts, 9 defeats, and 1 no contest. Numbers that tell a story of risk, resilience, and refusal to back down. Rosado has shared the ring with monsters of the division: David Lemieux, Jermall Charlo, Peter Quillen, Kid Chocolate. And while he came up short on some of those nights, he earned respect every time. This fight matters because both men know it. Monroe sees opportunity, a chance to box his way into relevance, to turn precision into a title and a future payday. Rosado sees redemption, proof that all those hard nights weren't wasted, that pressure and pain still mean something in boxing. The referee calls them together, lays down the rules, gloves touch briefly, and in that single moment before the bell, the arena falls into a hush. 2 careers, balanced on 12 rounds. No excuses left. The bell rings, and the story begins. From the opening seconds of round 1, the contrast in styles becomes impossible to miss. Willie Monroe Jr. moves like a man who wants space, light on his feet, hands high, eyes alert, waiting. He is a counterpuncher by nature, a boxer who believes the fight should come to him, not the other way around. Gabriel Rosado, on the other hand, steps forward with purpose, shoulders rolled, chin tucked, looking to crowd the ring and impose his will. The early rounds are less about damage and more about territory. Monroe flicks the jab, not always to hurt, but to measure distance, to disrupt rhythm. Rosado stalks, probing with his own jab, trying to force exchanges that Monroe clearly wants no part of. The crowd begins to murmur, some appreciating the chess match, others craving collision. Monroe's timing is sharp early, slipping just outside Rosado's range, and snapping counters when Rosado steps in too confidently. Rosado absorbs it, shakes his head and keeps coming, aware that this fight will not be won in the first 3 minutes. By round 2 and 3, the pattern holds. Monroe's defense frustrates Rosado, but Rosado's pressure prevents Monroe from ever getting fully comfortable. There are moments when Rosado lands heavy shots to the body, dull thuds that don't always draw cheers, but slowly tax the legs. Monroe responds with crisp left hands upstairs, clean punches that score but don't discourage the advance. Neither man seizes full control, but the tension builds, because both know the margin for error is thin. Rosado's right eye begins to show swelling, a visible reminder that Monroe's counters are finding their mark. Still, Rosado presses forward, backed by a section of fans who admire his refusal to retreat. These rounds are quiet wars of positioning, of patience versus pressure. And as the bell ends the early stages, it's clear this will not be a brawl. It will be a battle of wills. As the fight moves into rounds 4 through 6, the chess match deepens. Rosado attempts to cut off the ring more effectively, stepping laterally instead of charging straight in, trying to trap Monroe against the ropes. Monroe, disciplined and composed, pivots out at the last second, frustrating Rosado and drawing sighs from sections of the crowd, desperate for fireworks. Monroe's confidence grows as he realizes his counters are landing consistently. His jab becomes more assertive, snapping Rosado's head back just enough to earn points and remind him that walking forward comes at a cost. Rosado, however, is not discouraged. He is a fighter built for discomfort. He digs to the body whenever he gets close. Short hooks and uppercuts that thud into Monroe's ribs. Punches meant to pay dividends later. The crowd begins to sense the internal struggle. Monroe is winning moments, but Rosado is stealing space and time. A bruise forms under Rosado's eye, evidence of Monroe's accuracy. Yet Rosado's pace never drops. The commentary notes how Monroe's style may not excite everyone, but it is undeniably effective. Still, there's a growing sense that Monroe cannot coast, that Rosado's pressure demands constant perfection. In round 6, Rosado lands a solid right hand that briefly forces Monroe to hold. It's not dramatic, but it's meaningful. The crowd erupts, sensing vulnerability. Monroe responds intelligently, clinching, resetting, refusing to panic. These middle rounds feel like a tug-of-war, Monroe pulling the fight into a technical rhythm, Rosado dragging it back into physical territory. Neither man breaks, but the strain begins to show. Sweat drips, breathing deepens, and the realization sets in. The second half of this fight will decide everything. By round 7 through 9, urgency creeps into every exchange. Rosado's corner knows he needs to make something happen, and Rosado responds by increasing his activity. Double jabs, triple jabs, he finally begins to throw combinations instead of single shots, attempting to overwhelm Monroe's defense. Monroe remains calm, but the effort required to maintain distance increases. His counters are still sharp, but now they come under pressure, fired while stepping backward instead of standing his ground. The crowd senses the shift and grows louder, feeding off Rosado's aggression. Monroe lands clean left hands, but Rosado answers with body work, forcing Monroe to think twice about planting his feet. The fight becomes more physical. Accidental head clashes, brief moments of holding, warnings from the referee. Monroe's eye shows swelling now too, proof that Rosado's persistence is not without effect. Still, Monroe's defense remains a critical factor. He slips punches by inches, turns shoulders, rolls shots, the kind of subtle mastery that judges often appreciate, even when fans grow restless. Rosado, however, refuses to be discouraged. He absorbs counters, walks through shots, and continues forward, driven by the knowledge that he cannot allow this fight to drift away on points. These rounds feel close, difficult to score, filled with moments where either man could claim success. Monroe's supporters see clean boxing. Rosado's supporters see relentless effort. As the bell ends the 9th, both fighters return to their corners visibly fatigued, their faces marked, their bodies taxed. Championship rounds loom, and with them, the truth. Whoever imposes their will in the final stretch will leave with the belt. Rounds 10 and 11 carry the weight of everything that came before. Rosado pushes forward with even greater urgency, knowing time is slipping away. His punches come in flurries now, wide but forceful, aimed at breaking Monroe's rhythm. Monroe, showing veteran composure, refuses to be drawn into reckless exchanges. He answers aggression with precision. Jabs, check hooks, and sharp counters that halt Rosado's momentum just long enough to escape danger. The judges' criteria become crucial here. Aggression versus effectiveness. Pressure versus accuracy. Monroe's corner urges him to stay disciplined, to trust the jab, to keep Rosado turning. Rosado's corner demands intensity, insisting that forward motion and volume can still sway the outcome. Accidental headbutts add drama, stopping action momentarily, reminding everyone how fragile the fight balance is at this stage. Monroe absorbs pressure, but never collapses. Rosado lands some of his cleanest shots late, but Monroe responds immediately, refusing to concede ground. The crowd is fully engaged now, appreciating the grit of both men. This is not a highlight reel war, but it is a test of resolve. Two professionals refusing to blink. As round 11 ends, both fighters stand exhausted yet defiant, chests heaving, eyes locked. One round remains. One final chance to convince three judges watching every movement. The 12th and final round begins with urgency written across both fighters' faces. Rosado charges forward, knowing he may need something decisive to change the narrative. He throws combinations, digs deep, and forces Monroe to work non-stop. Monroe answers with his jab, the same weapon that has served him all night, snapping it out again and again, disrupting Rosado's rhythm. Rosado lands a few solid shots, but Monroe counters immediately, ensuring that every Rosado success is met with resistance. The referee issues warnings for holding, as fatigue causes both men to lean into each other. The crowd roars with every exchange, aware that this is the last chapter of a hard-fought story. Monroe's defense remains intact, even as exhaustion slows his movement. Rosado's heart is undeniable, his pressure relentless, But Monroe's composure never cracks. As the final seconds tick away, both men trade one last exchange, not with fury, but with respect. The bell rings, and the fight is over. Gloves drop. Breathing is heavy. The outcome now rests in the hands of the judges. After 12 rounds of disciplined boxing and relentless pressure, the fighters gather in the center of the ring. Scorecards are read aloud, numbers echoing through the arena. One by one, the verdict becomes clear. By unanimous decision, Willie Mongoose Monroe Jr. is crowned the new WBO InterContinental Middleweight Champion. It is not a victory built on drama or knockdowns, but on control, defense, and consistency. Monroe raises his arms, knowing he executed the fight exactly as he needed to. Rosado stands nearby, disappointed but unbroken. Another hard night against a skilled opponent. Another reminder of how thin the margins are at this level. The crowd applauds both men, recognizing the effort, the sacrifice, and the professionalism displayed. For Monroe, this win represents opportunity. A step closer to bigger fights, bigger stages, and long-awaited recognition. For Rosado, it is another chapter in a career defined by courage and confrontation. As the lights dim and the arena slowly empties, the message remains clear. Not every fight is remembered for chaos, but every fight reveals character. And on this night, both men showed exactly who they are.